Yes, Big John here. So, government intervenes to send task force into dysfunctional Liverpool. Liverpool City Council should be brought under the joint control of government commissioners in an unprecedented move after inspectors found multiple failures and a serious breakdown of governance excuse me, at the local authority. The committee's secretary has said. Robert Jenrick said an emergency inspection had painted a deeply concerning picture of mismanagement, an environment of intimidation, and a dysfunctional culture at one of the biggest councils in Britain. You couldn't make this up. These kind of things, environment of intimidation and dysfunctional culture, has gone for a lot of the northern councils, especially those involved in grooming gang cover-ups and stuff like that. You just couldn't make it up. Commissioners appointed by the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government would be sent to exercise certain and limited functions of Liverpool City Council for up to 3 years under a plan that will prove controversial just 6 weeks before the local elections. It is thought to be the first time the Westminster government has directly intervened in the day-to-day running of a city the size of Liverpool, and it's politically incendiary because it's one of the staunchest Labour cities in Britain and is politically incendiary because it is one of the staunchest Labour cities in Britain, and it is. Liverpool's a lefty stronghold, certainly. The region sends 14 Labour MPs to Westminster. A Liverpool seat last had a Conservative MP 38 years ago. The last Tory council lost his seat 23 years ago. Steve Reid, the Shadow Communities and Local Government Secretary, said he accepted the report in full and said Labour supported the government's plan to reform the council. Now, I've been going on ages since we've had a run-in with Anna Roffery, and she's been deselected for running for mayor, which I'm guessing is something to do with this. And Jo Anderson, we talk about the councils across the northwest, Oldham, Manchester, Rotherham, councils across Yorkshire. They're all corrupt. They're not working for the working class people. They're not bothered just making the bucks for themselves. But let's carry on with this article. He said the report had raised grave and serious concerns and severe institutional weaknesses at the Labour-run authority. Jenrick's decision followed a damning report on parts of the council by Max Corler, a local government consultant who carried out an emergency inspection on behalf of the government. The report was ordered after the arrests of 5 men, including the Labour mayor, Jo Anderson, last December. And it's not just Jo Anderson. Let's get the other guy involved in it. I think it's Derek Hatton, is it? Even though he's not an MP or anything, or a councillor, he's obviously got some influence to have been arrested on with Jo. But anyway, let's just get back to it. Anderson was arrested as part of Merseyside's police operation Aloft, an ongoing investigation into building and development contracts in Liverpool that led to the arrests of 12 people. He denies all wrongdoing. That's Jo Anderson. He's stepped down at the moment. Jenrick said the report had identified multiple failures in its regeneration and planning department, including the awarding of dubious contracts and a worrying lack of record keeping, in which some documents were dumped in skips and others created retrospectively. So, and others created retrospectively. So that means that documents are being forged or redone somehow. You just couldn't make it up. Now, you might still think, you know, you might still love your city and you live in and all that, but how can you love the politicians when they're doing stuff like this? And they're obviously gaining something off it, but it affects everyone. It's affecting you because in Liverpool, because now the government are taking over your council because they don't trust the people who are leading you. When are people going to wake up to Labour? When are people going to wake up to the left and what they're like? Don't get me wrong, the Conservatives are just as bad. And don't forget, I haven't forgot what happened at Hillsborough. There's more to come on that, but I haven't forgotten that. But Labour are screwing you over. Labour, and some of the charges that they're up for, that Jo Anderson is blackmailing, intimidation, or something on that kind. So if you don't agree with them, just go around and threaten you. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. You just couldn't make it up. He said, as a whole, the report is unequivocal. Liverpool City Council has failed in numerous respects to comply with its best value duties. It concludes that the council consistently failed to meet its statutory and managerial responsibilities, and that the pervasive culture appeared to be rule avoidance. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. Gangsters running our councils, and they're obviously not good enough to do the jobs. Or they're good enough to do the jobs, but they're covering loads of shit up. Jenrick said there had been a lack of scrutiny and a continued failure to correctly value land and assets, meaning taxpayers frequently lost out. What did I just say? So this is going to you taxpayers in Liverpool, all you lefties who scream at me. You're just getting fucked over by your own council members and people you seem to think you can trust, but they're screwing you over and you're paying for the profits. You're paying that your money is going into their pockets and they're not telling you. Honestly, you stupid Labour voters. The inspectors found an environment of intimidation in which the only way to survive was to do what was requested without asking too many questions, he told MPs. Same kind of Labour thing. I can point this out in a dozen areas around the UK like that. I can point out to you that that was one of the major things about Rotherham Council and why that got covered up for so long was this kind of thing within our councils. I'm not standing for it. I'll call them out all day long. And I reckon that Anna Roffery is not running in the mayoral thing because of this. No one, she's corrupt as well. Liar. Anna Roffery, you're a liar. Liverpool City Council is expected to accept Jenrick's proposals, meaning government commissioners would be drafted in immediately. The number of councillors in Liverpool will also be reduced from 90 to 72. 72 of whom represent Labour. The election cycle will also be changed, moving to hold council elections every 4 years. I'll tell you what, there's other people involved in this and they're councillors and they're corrupt as well. We'll see if it comes out in the investigation, if any more people get brought to account. Dan Cardin, the MP whose Liverpool Walton seat is the safest Labour constituency in the UK with a 75% majority, said the city needed to see real change and robust safeguards to guarantee transparency and accountability. However, he said residents were concerned the move represented a takeover by Whitehall. Hang on a minute, Dan Cardin MP. It's your officials who've done this, Jo Anderson and all that. So the government has to move in. Serves you right. Don't start using other people to go against government. There's evidence now. I've just said about corruption and everything within that council. Shouldn't we sort it out? And don't think you're getting off with it as well. I would hold every single Labour MP in Liverpool. I'd scrutinise them all, and I'd scrutinise all the records. Now, you're not all guilty, but some of you are. That's what I would do personally, but it's not going to happen. On accountability, you watch that the book will be thrown just at Joe Anderson, and he'll take it all, and other people will get off with it, and they'll still be running the councils. That's how it works. Jem Ricks said the local elections would go ahead on the 6th of May, and that those politicians would then inform government about the best steps forward for the council. He said if the government did decide to appoint commissioners, it would be to stand behind the elected representatives, not to tell them what to do, but to guide and support them. He added, we have given them the authority to act should they need to, given the seriousness of some of the allegations, but it is not our hope or expectation that those powers would be exercised. Kim Johnson, the Labour MP for Liverpool Riverside, said the city deserved a well-run council with stronger, more transparent government procedures. You're not transparent, Kim Johnson of Riverside. You're not. And I want you investigated. I want all the Labour MPs, senior officials in Liverpool investigated. It's never going to happen. She added, I'm a very proud Scouser, but listening to the Secretary of State read the contents of a very damning report makes me angry, as it will the whole city when the report is made public. I want you all investigated. Some of you are innocent, but some of you are guilty. I know it. There was immediately pressure on some Labour councillors to resign. Richard Kemp, the Liberal Democrat councillor and candidate for mayor, called for the resignation of all councillors connected to the scandal at regeneration, planning and property departments. He said, this is a sad day for our city. Oh, I'm not even going to go any more into it. That's a state of Liverpool Council. Scousers again. Remember that now, Scousers. All you who call me when you're at Bootle, shouting your mouths off at me, remember your tax money is going into some robbers' coffers and getting him loads of money, and you're paying for it. You're paying for it. Greater Manchester Police are under special measures. I'll ring you back in a sec. Right. Greater Manchester Police are under special measures for not reporting 80,000 crimes and failing vulnerable victims. Now, Andy Burnham has practically thrown Chief Inspector Hopkins under the bus. He's kept well away from it. The papers and everyone were asking him to resign. So am I. Let's have a look. Greater Manchester Police and Crime Commissioner, an elected official tasked with setting out the way crime is tackled by Greater Manchester Police in Greater Manchester. And what that means is he's talking with the police at the top levels. And he's pushing, he's to blame for this. I'm not having the 80,000 crimes hasn't been reported and he don't know nothing about it. What Labour want to do in the Northwest, they don't want these crimes reported because it'll show you how immigration has messed the system up. It'll show you political correctness. It'll show you a lot of things that they don't want you to see. It will show you the true state of the Northwest, which is a shit tip. Remember, in the Northwest, we get most asylum seekers. We get the dregs of everything up here. And just ridiculous. So, Labour in the Northwest, how many times do I have to go on? None of this is to do with me. I'm not anything to do with corruption in the Liverpool Council, but it's out. I'm nothing to do with the 80,000 crimes not reported. Yet you'll stamp me down, you'll arrest me. I have the media calling me, trying to fit me up and all that lot. We're not having it. We're not having it in England, where we're run by scumbag, fake, gangster wankers. We're not having it. We're not having it. And no wonder Anna Rothery didn't get picked for the mayor job, because this is why. This is why. I was talking about Anna Rothery the other week, and I didn't know why she'd not been picked. This is why. Because Liverpool Council's a shit tip. I'd have them all investigated, all the mayors, every single MP, whether they're Labour or not, everyone gets investigated, scrutinised. Scrutinised. Thank you very much.